What is up, guys, and welcome back to another video. And today we're going over the top 10 creepiest places that ever existed, and number 10 is Clinton Road in West Milford. It is said to be the most haunted road in America. It's a long stretch of a road that makes the imagination go nuts. There are very few houses along the road, and much of the adjoining property is undeveloped, publicly owned woodlands. People who drive along the 10-mile long road have reported everything from strangely dressed wanderers to ghosts to evidence of satanic rituals to phantom trucks that chase them to its end. It is also said that you can quite often see glowing red eyes in the woods as you drive through. The strip of road also features naturally a dead man's curve. Take extra caution at the Ghost Boy Bridge. It's said that the spirit of a little boy who lives underneath it will do his best to draw you into the water and never let you out. Number 9, the Waverly Hills Sanatorium in Louisville, Kentucky, which is one of the most, if not the most, haunted hospitals in America. It opened in 1910, and the two-story building was intended to house 40 to 50 tuberculosis patients. There were many cases in Louisville at the time because of all the wetlands along the Ohio River. But a huge outbreak hit Jefferson County soon afterwards, spurring a construction of an expanded hospital, one that could hold over 400 patients. Once the antibiotic used to prevent the disease was invented, there was little need for the hospital, and it closed in 1962. Urban legend holds that over 63,000 people died at the sanatorium during the time it was operated. The sanatorium has gained a reputation for being filled with ghosts of patients who died in there. The building offers tours and opportunities for paranormal investigation. Number 8, the Lizzie Borden house in Fall River, Massachusetts, which was the scene of a gruesome crime back in 1892. Lizzie Borden lived there with her father, stepmother, and sister Emma. On that fateful night in 1892, Lizzie's father and stepmother were brutally murdered with an axe. Though the case remains technically unsolved, Lizzie is widely considered to be responsible for the murders. She was said to have behaved erratically during questioning, offering contradictory versions of the events, and remaining weirdly poised and calm. It's also said that she burned a dress in her oven a few days after the murders, though she claimed it was only because she got in paint on it. Lizzie was tried and acquitted. Nobody else was ever charged for the murders. Lizzie moved to another house after the trial, but remained in town for the rest of her life, despite being viewed differently from the Fall River community. The house now operates as a bed and breakfast, where the most requested room is the room Lizzie's stepmother Abby was found dead in. They say Abby's spirit haunts that room nightly. Number 7, built in 1874, St. Augustine Light is the name of the active lighthouse at the north end of Anastasia Island in St. Augustine, Florida. The original building was the first lighthouse built in Florida, and that building crashed into the sea in 1880 due to a coastline erosion. The collapse had been anticipated though. Construction on the new building, the one that stands today, began in 1870. Many visitors to the lighthouse have reported witnessing paranormal activity, including shadows and voices. People have also reported seeing two young girls standing on the lighthouse catwalk. The girls are said to be the daughters of the man who was superintendent of lighthouse construction during the 1870s. Both drowned in an accident that took place during the building of the second lighthouse structure. The lighthouse offers Dark of the Moon tours that included guided paranormal investigation of the premises. Number 6, the St. Louis Cemetery in New Orleans, Louisiana. It is one creepy place, guys. It is a group of 3 Roman Catholic cemeteries right in New Orleans. They are some of the country's oldest and most famous cemeteries. These cemeteries are unique for their above-ground vaults, most of which were constructed and laid there in the 18th and 19th century. Many notable people are buried here, but none inspire more spooky stories than Maria LeVay, the Voodoo Queen of New Orleans. It's said if you knock 3 times upon the tomb to wake her from her slumber, mark the tomb with an XXX in chalk or brick, and knock 3 times again, she'll grant you your wish if you leave her an offering. More recently, due to the high amount of vandalism, you can only go a part of a tour group or if you have a family member buried there. Number 5, the Stanley Hotel, Estes Park, Colorado, which was made famous by Stephen King's The Shining. It was built in 1909 and has 140 rooms. Many people believe that the hotel is haunted. The founder of the hotel, F.O. Stanley's spirit, is often seen hanging around in the billiard room and the lobby, as these were his favorite areas of the hotel when he was living. The infamous ballrooms seems to be where a lot of paranormal activity happens. The crew from the TV show Ghost Hunters were unable to explain strange experiences that happened in the ballroom while they were visiting. When Stanley's wife, Flora Stanley, was alive, she used to entertain the guests by playing the piano in the ballroom. She's said to still do just that. Many times her music is heard, but only the piano keys are seen moving. However, if anyone walks in the room for further investigation, the music ceases, as does the movement of the piano keys. Various rooms in the Stanley Hotel are especially active when it comes to paranormal activity. One of these is room 407. One witness said that a light constantly turned on and off in room 407. This hotel is one scary place to spend a night at. Number 4, the grave of the female stranger, and it is located in Alexandria, Virginia. The legend of the female stranger is one of Alexandria's, if not the nation's, most creepy story, as well as one of the least understood. In 1816, a 23-year-old woman died and was buried by her husband under the total anonymity. The young couple had only landed in Alexandria for a few months earlier, coming ashore from the Four Sons ship, which diverted to Virginia and let them off the ship because the young wife was very ill. From the moment they stepped foot on land, the young woman wore a thick veil, so nobody ever saw what she looked like or who she was. The couple rushed to the town's largest tavern to try to find help. A doctor was called but was made to swear that he would never reveal the woman's identity. 2 women were also guests at the hotel, acted as the ladies' nurses. They also made the same promise to not disclose who she was. Each kept their oath. When the lady died, her husband buried her himself so that no one else would see her face. To this day, no one is sure who she was, though many have said they've seen her wandering the area many years after her death. Number 3, Bachelor's Grove Cemetery, which is located in Chicago, Illinois suburbs. It is known as the most haunted place in all of Chi-Town. The abandoned, fairly small Bachelor's Grove Cemetery contains just 82 plots, many of which are unoccupied. This rundown graveyard has more unexplained paranormal activities than any other cemetery worldwide. The cemetery's first official burials began in 1840. Over 100 years later, in the 1950s through the 1970s, reports of hauntings in a cemetery reached an all-time high. Witnesses have reported seeing a phantom farmhouse, a 2-headed ghost, figures dressed in monk robes, a black dog, and a woman in white. Number 2, the Winchester Mystery House in San Jose, California, which has an interesting yet creepy backstory. It is often called the house that ghosts built. The house began as a project for a grieving widow named Sarah Winchester. Sarah tragically lost her infant daughter and then her husband 15 years later. After their deaths, Sarah visited a medium who told her that her family had been cursed by the spirits of people who'd been killed by Winchester rifles. It's said that Sarah was instructed to move west and build a great house to keep the spirits. The medium said that her life would be safe as long as she never stopped building. Sarah purchased the then unfinished farmhouse in 1884 and got to work. By the turn of the century, the house was 7 stories high and featured a number of odd features, such as extremely long hallways, staircases leading into solid ceiling, and doors that open right into walls. And number 1, the Villisca Axe Murder House in Villisca, Iowa, is the scene of the unimaginable murders. The old white frame house sits on a quiet residential street. On the morning of June 10, 1912, the Moore family, 2 parents and their 4 children, as well as 2 house guests, were found killed with an axe, presumably the night before. Investigators determined that the murders had taken place between 12 and 5 a.m., with all the victims but one asleep at the time. One of the house guests, who was a friend of one of the Moore children, Lena Stillinger, was found lying crosswise on the bed and having a defensive wound on her arm. Though several suspects were named and tried for the crimes, the case is considered unsolved. The spirits of the family and their house guests are still said to be roaming the house almost 100 years later. Visits by paranormal investigators have provided audio, video, and photographic proof of paranormal activity. Today, the house offers ghost tours as well as overnight stays. And that is it for the video, guys. As always, thanks for watching. We hope y'all enjoyed. If you did, please make sure to leave a like and subscribe for more, and we'll see you all later.